Arjun Sakhā Prabhu. Thank you so much for your very valuable association today on the call. We are extremely happy to have you on the call. You can now take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasani Mataji, for that very kind introduction. And yes, dear devotees, I'm a little under the weather. The weekend was a little exhausting with multiple temple events here. Complete Saturday and Sunday, we had some holy name retreats, which started early in the morning, which ended pretty late. And ISKCON events are such. It's when there is an event, there are so many other things along with that goes around, and a lot of physical service here and there. So little under the weather, but let's see. I'll try to speak something as Krishna inspires. If it's a short class, it's a short class, but we never know. Let's see. So I'll go ahead and quickly share the screen for the verses for today, and then we will try to discuss something. We're reading from the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is the Adi Khanda, chapter 12, text 122 through 134. Goyala kulera prabhu prasanna haya, gandhavani kera ghare utile na giya. After being satisfied by the Gopas, the Lord went to the house of a perfume merchant. Samrame vanika kare charane pranama, Prabhu bole ara bhai bhala gandhana. The merchant offered his respectful obeisances to the Lord, who said, "O brother, bring me some of the best perfume." Divya gandha vanikani lata thakshana, ki mulya laipa bole Shri Sachinandana. The perfume merchant immediately brought some of his best perfume, and Shri Sachinandan inquired, "What is the price?" वाणी का बोलय तुम्हें जाना महाशय तोमा स्थाने मूल्य की नीते युक्त है. The merchant replied, "You know, my dear sir, is it befitting for me to take money from you?" So these are two verses together. आजी गंध परी घरे यहाँ थे ठाकुर काली यदि गए गंध ठाकरे प्रचुर धुइले ओ यदि गा ये गंध नहीं छड़े तबे कदी दियो मोरे ये चित पोदे. Today you apply this oil and go home. If after taking bath tomorrow the fragrance still remains, then you can pay me whatever you like. 128. एता बोले यापने प्रभुर सर्व अंगे गंध दिया वाणी का न जानी कोन रंगे. After saying this, the merchant happily applied the perfume on the body of the Lord. सर्वभूत हृदय अक्षर सर्वमन से रूप देखिय मुग्ध नाही कोन जना. The Lord is the super soul of all living entities. Therefore, he attracts the mind of all. Who is not attracted by seeing his beautiful form? वाणी केर अनुग्रह करी विश्वंभर उठिरे न गिय प्रभु मालाकार घर. Vishwambar bestowed his mercy on the merchant and then continued onto the house of a florist. Commentary by Srila Saraswati Thakur. The word malakara refers to a florist or those who make flower garlands for sale. In common language, they are called as malis. Parama adbhuta rupa dekhi malakara adare asana diya kare namaskara. When the florist saw Nimai's most wonderful form, he offered his obeisances and a place to sit. Prabhu bole bhala mala deha mala kara kadipati lage kichu nahi ka amara. The Lord said, "O florist, I would like a nice garland, but I have no money with me." Commentary. In the phrase kadipati, which means cash, expenses, or finance, the word kadi comes from the Sanskrit word kapardaka, and pati comes from the Sanskrit word Patri. Siddha Pray Dekhi Malakara Mali Boli Kichudae Nahi Katomara. Appreciating that Nimai had the symptoms of a spiritually perfect soul, the florist said, "You don't need to pay." Last verse for today. Eta boli mala dila Prabhu Rashri Ange Hase Mahaprabhu Sarva Paduyara Sange. After saying this, the florist garlanded the Lord, who smiled in the company of his students. Shri Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Om Ajnanathimiranthasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanostute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamineti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hemavadivya Chavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So there's a very beautiful section that we see from the Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat that has been authored by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, who's not different from Shri Vyasadeva. And in this section, we find there are two pastimes that have been mentioned, two short pastimes. One is that of the perfume merchant, Mahaprabhu going to the perfume merchant, and second is Mahaprabhu going to the florist or the mali to get some flowers, flower garland. You see Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully, he says, Chaitanyera madhur lila jara karne praveshila Chaitanyera madhur lila jara karne praveshila Hridaya nirmala bhelota Hridaya nirmala bhelota Chaitanyera madhur lila jar karne praveshila. The pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are such madhur lila, they are very sweet. Chaitanyera madhur lila jar karne praveshila. In these pastimes of Mahaprabhu, when they enter the ear of anyone, Jara karne, karna means the ear. Jara karne praveshila, when they enter the ear of the sadhaka, what happens? Hridaya nirmala bhelotar, the heart becomes soft. It becomes white and it becomes soft. White in purity and soft in compassion, like the butter. The butter is white and it is soft. You see, that is why Krishna steals the butter, to show that that day when the practitioner's heart becomes white in purity like the butter and soft just like the butter, that is the day he's going to come and steal our hearts away. So heart has to become like butter, soft in compassion and white in purity. Similarly, here Kaviraj Goswami is saying, he's giving the solution for it. Krishna is saying, when the day arises, when the heart will become white and soft, that day I will come and steal. But Kaviraj Goswami is saying, how will the heart become white and soft? It is by hearing the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanyera madhur lila jara karne praveshila hridaya nirmala bhelotar. It becomes nirmala. Mala means contamination. Like Bhagavatam is called as Amala Purana. Mala means contaminations, and Amala, no contamination, which means pure scripture. Similarly, Hridaya Nirmala Bhelota, it becomes completely cleansed of all the anarthas and all the contaminations that we have been very proudly accumulating for so many lifetimes together. All of them gets completely destroyed. Chaitanya Charit E Amritera Sindhu Karna Mana Tripta Kare Jara Eka Bindu. Chaitanya Charit E Amritera Sindhu. It's an ocean of nectar. It's not an ocean of salt water like the way we find outside, but it's an ocean of complete nectar. Chaitanya Charit E Amritera Sindhu Karna Mana Tripta Kare Jara Eka Bindu. Leave alone the whole ocean. Even if we just take one drop from that ocean, the ears, the mind, and the heart, they all become satisfied. People are running in this world for happiness. Every attempt that is made is only for this one thing, to accumulate or to make sure how we can become more happy. And we see that how much ever materially we try, at one point we become distressed and we become fed up. How much ever material assets one may possess, car, money, house, whatever it is, we see material things cannot give satisfaction to the heart. It always falls short, and the mind always tricks us that if we have one phone, we need two phones. We have one car, we need two cars. We have one house, we need two houses. The mind always tricks us that if you get this one more thing, then we will be happy. But we always see that how much ever we try to satisfy the mind's demands never ceases to end. It's always wanting something or the other. But here we find that the ultimate form of happiness, Kaviraj Goswami explains, comes from hearing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Karna mana tripta kare. Tripta. It makes the mind, the heart, and all the senses completely satisfied, not desiring and not wanting anything else. Yara eka bindu. Just one drop from this magnum opus of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can drown the jivas, can completely satisfy the hearts of the jivas. In our case, we are hearing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just imagine for those devotees who were personally there with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, there was one associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who was always there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very young, but he was always there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And perhaps he served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He got the personal association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the most. We're talking about Sripad Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for about good 16 to 18 years. How much time did Srila Rupa Goswami stay? 10 months. Sanatan Goswami, few months. The Goswamis could spend only a few months, but Raghunath Das Goswami spent years with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No one got so much fortune. He was so fortunate to spend so much time of his with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we can imagine, in our case, We are hearing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and trying to develop a desire that in some lifetime we may get his lotus feet. For the person who was personally there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what was going through his heart when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed this world? It was almost like a thunderbolt to his heart. The person with whom he grew up, and the only person whom he knew to the core of his heart. Now, when he departed, this was too much for Raghunath Das Goswami. But thankfully, he had Swarup Damodar Goswami still present. So he would console himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is gone, but Swarup Damodar Goswami is still present. But when Swarup Damodar Goswami also disappeared from this world, this was too much for Raghunath Das Goswami. And he thought to himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not there, Swarup Damodar Goswami is not there. What is the purpose of my existence? Why should I even live? When the two most important personalities of my life have departed, why should I even live? And he decides to walk all the way from Jagannath Puri to the land of Vrindavan. Now that's a long walk. Even if we take a transport, we see that's quite a distance. But here we find Raghunath Das Goswami walks all the way to the land of Vrindavan. And our Acharyas very beautifully say, when he comes to the land of Vrindavan, Raghunath Das Goswami, he explains the condition of his heart. Shunyaite mahagoshtam girindro ajgarayate vyagratundayate kundam jivatu rahitasya me. He says the whole of Vrindavan Dham, Shunyaite, it has become void because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not there. You see, Mahaprabhu in 1515 came to Shri Vrindavan Dham. But now he says, Shunyaite Mahagoshtam. It has become Shunya. It has become completely zero. Swarup Damodar Goswami is not there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not there. Girindro Ajgarayate. And Govardhan is like Ajgar. It's almost like a tiger, ready to devour me. Vyagratundayate Kundam. And Kunda, Radha Kund is like an open mouth of a python. Jivatu rahitasya me. Now that I am completely devoid of the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar Goswami and the other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything seems null and void for me. Nothing makes sense for Raghunath Das Goswami because his worshipable Lord has departed this world. And in this association, apart from Raghunath Das Goswami, was another personality who was also very, very dear to the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu took sannyas and went to Jagannath Puri, not a lot of people were aware of his taking sannyas. It was an overnight affair that shook everyone. Only a few devotees were aware of it prior, and only a few devotees accompanied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri after he took sannyas. And one such personality who was always there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, apart from Raghunath Das Goswami, who knew Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from his childhood days, from his Nimai days, was a personality by the name Jagadananda Pandit. Jagadananda Pandit was so dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that in the childhood also he was there. And Chaitanya Bhagavata also describes that when Mahaprabhu after sannyas went to Jagannath Puri with Nityananda Prabhu and few others, our Jagadananda Pandit was also there in that assembly of 4 or 5 devotees. So when they were very small, when Nimai was small, you see, when friends, they have to address each other, they always have a nickname. They always have a nickname. So Mahaprabhu would call Jagadananda as Jagga. You'd always call him as my dear Jagga, short form for Jagadananda. So they were very, very close to each other, very strong friends, well bonded. And our Acharyas very beautifully say, in fact, Jagadananda Pandit himself in his Prema Vivarta explains, one time Nimai was taking bath in the Ganges along with his Jagga, and both were taking bath. And at that time, as they were taking bath and splashing water at each other, there was a parrot that flew all its way and sat on the branch above. So Nimai saw that parrot and told the parrot, my dear parrot, please say Krishna, Krishna. Please chant Krishna, Krishna. And the parrot was flapping its wings and not chanting Krishna, Krishna, but started chanting Gaura, 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 Gaura. Flapping its wings, it started chanting the name of Gauranga. And Nimai said, no, not Gaura, Gaura, chant Krishna, Krishna. And it was again flapping its wings and saying Gaura, 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 Gaura. Nimai looked at Jagadananda. He looked at his Jaga and said, what is happening? I am telling the parrot to chant Krishna, Krishna, and he is saying Gaura, Gaura. What is the reason? And Jaga said, my dear Lord, why are you chastising the parrot? What the parrot is saying is true. Radha Krishna Aiche Sada Ekai Swarup, Radha and Krishna are one. So that Krishna is now coming down as Nimai. And as we know, Nimai is Gauranga Mahaprabhu, is not different from Radha and Krishna. So it's the same tattva actually. So my dear Lord, why are you chastising the parrot? Whether Krishna, Krishna or Gaura, Gaura, both are the same. In fact, my dear Lord, Gaura, Gaura is even better. Why? Gaura Nam, Gaura Dam, Gaura Rupa Gun, Aparada Nahi Mani Tarite Nipun. My dear Lord, these four things don't take offenses. Gaura Nam, Gaura Dham, Gaura Roop, and Gaura Gun, the qualities. These four things. The name of the Lord, the pastime place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is Navadvip Dham, and all the 9 islands Navadvip. Gaura Roop, the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Gaura Gun, the qualities. Aparada Nahimani, they don't consider offenses. And Tarite Nipun. Nipun means expert. They are expert in delivering the jiva. Anyone who chants Gaura, 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 there is no offenses. Krishna Nam considers offenses. Krishna Nama Kari Aparadera Bichara. Krishna Nam considers offenses, but Gaur Nam, Gaur Dham, Gaur Roop, and Gaur Gun, no offense. So Jaga is telling his Nimai that, my dear Lord, this is better. The parrot is, in fact, teaching us that one should always chant Gaur Nam. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is there, but apart from that, whenever we have time, we should also practice chanting Gaur Nam and Nitai Nam. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Leha Gaurangero Namare, Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Se Hoy Amara Pranare, Se Hoy Nitaira Pranare. They become the life and soul of Nitai. So to attract Radha and Krishna, the only way is Nityananda Prabhu. Heno Nitai Vine Bhai Radha Krishna Paite Nai. And Nitai is attracted when you chant the name of Gaura, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Leha Gauranga Namare. So my dear Lord, to get Radha and Krishna, Nitai has to be pleased, but to get Nitai, to please Nityananda Prabhu, one has to chant the name of Gaura. So the parrot is doing the correct thing, my dear Lord. He is chanting Gaura, Gaura, Gaura. Why are you stopping him? And the parrot would flap its wings and just keep chanting Gaura, Gaura, and it flew away. So Nimai was defeated by his own friend Jaga. So the reason we are saying is they have a very strong bond right from childhood. They were school friends, going to school together, playing together, splashing water in Ganga, very close. And naturally, when Mahaprabhu took sannyas and was marching his way towards Jagannath Puri, Jagadananda Pandit was also one of the associates. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relocated from Nadia to Jagannath Puri, and as he was in the ashram of sannyas there, we see that at the same time, his Guru Maharaj, Ishwara Puripad, had departed. But while he was departing, Govinda was the personal servant of Ishwara Puri. And while Ishwara Puripad was departing this world, Govinda asked Ishwara Puri that, my dear Lord, my dear Gurudev, after you depart, what should I do? All my life I have served you, but now that you are departing, where should I go? Whom should I serve? And Ishwara Puripad directs Govinda to go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Govinda's god brother. Govinda and Mahaprabhu are god brothers, disciples of the same spiritual master, Sri Ishwara Puripad. Now this is, sometimes it can become a little difficult when our Gurudev says that you go and serve your god brother. Now naturally we are accustomed to serving someone who is a sannyasi or someone who is a disciple of some other spiritual master. But to serve someone who is our God brother on a constant basis, not occasionally. Occasionally is still okay, but constant basis, 24 hours, lifelong, it requires a lot of dedication and humility and a lot of surrender. And Govinda accepted that service. He served his spiritual master Ishwara Puripad, and after he departed, he went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, my dear Lord, I now want to serve you. And Mahaprabhu said, no, you are my God brother. How can I take service from my own God brother? You are my God brother. And you are the personal servant of my Guru Maharaj. How can I take service? So Govinda tells Mahaprabhu that, my dear Lord, this is the instruction. This is the desire of our Gurudev. Our Gurudev wants this, as that I come and serve you. So please accept me. And because Ishwara Puripad wanted this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Govinda as his servant. Govindas, Swarup Damodar Goswami and Rai Ramananda were always there together. And so was Jagadananda Pandit, or Mahaprabhu's Jaga. And one time it's so described that Mahaprabhu had gone out to meet a few devotees. Because we see that Mahaprabhu took sannyas at the age of 24. And from 24 to 30, he was traveling South India Yatra, meeting Rai Ramananda and other devotees. And at the age of 30, he settled down in Jagannath Puri. But again, from 30 to 36, in Jagannath Puri, he would go out to meet devotees. But from 36 to 48, the last 12 years was complete isolation in Gambhira. Gambhira is the house of Kashi Mishra. Mahaprabhu would actually be Gambhir. He would be very grave. Last 12 years were complete isolation. But prior to that, in Jagannath Puri, when he was going out and meeting devotees, one time when Mahaprabhu went out, he was not at home. Govinda was at home. And Jagadananda, he came there. And while speaking to Govinda, he asked that, my dear Govinda, do you massage Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You're his servant. Do you massage him? And Govinda, he said, yes, my dear Jagadananda, I massage Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whenever Mahaprabhu desires, I give him a massage. So Jagadananda Pandit said, Acha, which oil do you use? You should be using some oil. Which oil do you use for massage? Because we see generally, whenever there is some massage, different oils are used. Maybe eucalyptus oil or different oils are used generally for massage. You generally don't give a massage without any oil, at least in the professional sense. The home massage may be different, but in the professional sense, they normally use oil. And now if you're massaging the Supreme Lord, you want to make sure that the best amenities are used. So Jagadananda asked that, my dear Govinda, you're massaging, but which oil are you using? What is the name? Which oil are you using? And Govinda said, oil? Oh, your Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, leave alone oil. Even if I take some water to massage him, that also he has some problem. He is such a renowned sannyasi, he doesn't use anything. He doesn't use anything. So, no question of oil. He doesn't use any oil. And Jagadananda said, no, he should be using some oil. If there is no oil, I will get oil for him. And Govinda, he said, he doesn't use oil. I'm telling you, I know he will not use oil. If you bring oil, you will keep oil here and go, but he will chastise me. He will chastise me. And Jagadananda said, don't worry, I will get oil and let's see how your Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't put oil. So Jagadananda walks all the way to Gauda Desh, to Navadvip Dham, to get oil. And he gets oil and he gives it the next day or so. And again, Mahaprabhu is out. He gives the oil to Govinda. And as Govinda gets this oil, Jagadananda explains to him, you nicely use this oil. Every limb of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be nicely massaged. He dances for so many hours. His feet may be sore. His hands may be sore. So make sure he gets a nice body massage. We see in a Sunday feast or something, we dance for 15-20 minutes and we are gasping for breath and we get so tired. And Mahaprabhu would dance for so many hours in front of Jagannath. So here the oil was given, and Govinda was trying to explain to Jagadananda that, my dear Jagadananda, please understand, he will not use oil. He will chastise me. But Jagadananda was also very firm. Let me see how he doesn't use this oil. So he gave the oil and he went. And poor Govinda was now about to be sandwiched from both sides. On one side, he had the hot temper of Jagadananda, and another side, now Mahaprabhu is coming home. When Mahaprabhu came home, he could immediately understand. The room was very fragrant. He could understand that there's some oil here, some fragrant oil, some fragrant perfume. So he asked Govinda that, my dear Govinda, is there some fragrant oil, some fragrant perfume here? And Govinda explained that, my dear Lord, your Jagga came and I told him that you would not use it for your massage. But he still insisted, and he went all the way to Gaudadesh and he brought this. And I tried to explain to him, my dear Lord, but he would not listen to me. And Mahaprabhu got so angry. Mahaprabhu said, don't you understand? I am a sannyasi. And if I wear perfume and if I put scent all over my body, what will people say? People will think I am a Dari sannyasi. Dari sannyasi means someone who keeps women to his side. People will think outside he is dancing in front of Jagannath, and inside closed doors, God knows what he is doing. If you put oil, scented perfume all over my body, what will people think? Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loke gaye. If there is a white cloth, white dhoti, and in that white dhoti, if there is one black dot, it is very visible. It's clearly evident, and it's very, very much visible to everyone. And naturally, the tendency is such that a sannyasi's character is white, very pure. But if there is one black stain, smallest of the black stain, people forget the whole white dhoti and they will just glorify that one black stain. Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loke gaye. People sing just that black thing. They forget all the good things that he has done in the past. They will forget all the good contribution that he has done, but they will just fault find and criticize. That's the Kali Yuga mentality. Sannyasira alpa loka, alpa chidra sarva loke gaye. People just want to pick out small faults and they will just keep criticizing. So Mahaprabhu said, if you put this oil, people will think I'm a Dari sannyasi. Do you want that when I go out, people criticize me? And Govinda said, my dear Lord, I told Jagadananda, but he wouldn't listen. And now poor Govinda was being crushed from both sides. Here was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastising him. Another side was the hot temper of Jagadananda Pandit. So Mahaprabhu did not accept the oil. It's very interesting that Mahaprabhu, here in this section of verses, he is going to the perfume merchant and he's saying that I want oil and I don't have money, etc. He himself is wanting oil here. And here with Jagadananda Pandit, he's saying, I don't want oil. How can we understand the Supreme Lord? He's Swarat, he's independent. He may do something and the next moment he may do something that is completely contradictory to it. So here we find Mahaprabhu doesn't accept. The next day again, Mahaprabhu goes out to meet devotees and Jagadananda Pandit again comes. And now Govinda is thinking to himself, when Mahaprabhu goes out, Jagadananda is coming and chastising me. When Jagadananda goes out, Mahaprabhu is coming and chastising me. Both sides, I am getting crushed. Even though I am trying to explain to both of them, they are not listening. And I am simply getting crushed by their chastisement. We can imagine what Govinda was going through. So now Mahaprabhu goes out, day 2. And Jagadananda again comes and he says, my dear Govinda, did you offer that oil? Did Mahaprabhu like it? He was inquiring. You see, Prabhupada was also traveling so much to preach the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his servants would also give him massage. Prabhupada every day would take a massage. And we would have seen many photos where Shrutakirti Prabhu and others are massaging Prabhupada. Every day Prabhupada would take a body massage and they would also use oil. One time when Prabhupada was in America, Brahmananda Prabhu, he thought that we are offering oil to Prabhupada, but why not we offer him something very expensive and high quality oil that Prabhupada probably has never seen? They were very eager to offer the best to their Gurudev. So Brahmananda Prabhu went out, and after searching for a good amount of time, he found a bottle, a small, literally about just maybe 100 ml of rosewood oil. And for that 100 ml, he ended up paying more than $100, more than $100. Very expensive and very less in quantity. So he came and he was very happy that he got it. And now he offered that to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, this is rosewood oil, very expensive. You get it from the rosewood trees that are found only in California. So it is very precious and very expensive, Prabhupada. We got it for you. And now if something is very expensive, you would want to use it minimally. Prabhupada saw that bottle and Prabhupada stretched his palm out. And in one go, he emptied the whole bottle on his palm. And Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, no, it is very expensive, Prabhupada. It is more than $100. And this is back in the day. Even now, we see $100 is quite an amount. And now 50 years back, $100 was a big thing. And ISKCON was just coming up. So every cent they were using very wisely. And Prabhupada emptied the whole bottle in his palm. And he took that oil and started massaging his own head. So Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, he is my spiritual master. I can tell him anything, but it is very expensive. So Prabhupada put the whole oil and he was massaging on his head. So Brahmananda Prabhu mustered some courage and he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, how did you like the oil? Because Prabhupada emptied the whole bottle and nicely he was massaging. So he said, Prabhupada, how did you like the oil? And he was convinced that Prabhupada is going to appreciate that. Wow, this is the best oil that I have seen. Thank you, Brahmananda Prabhu. He was expecting that Prabhupada is going to glorify. And when Brahmananda Prabhu asked this question, Prabhupada looked up and said, yeah, it is good, but the one that we get in Calcutta is even better. Prabhupada was such that even though it was very expensive, Prabhupada's heart was still in the streets of Calcutta. Prabhupada said, it is good, but the one that we get in Calcutta is much better. And Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, it is one of the most expensive oils that people are looking out for. And here is Prabhupada, his simplicity is so much that he still prefers the oil that he used when he was small in Calcutta. So similarly, here we find Jagadananda day 2 again comes back and is asking Govinda, did you use the oil to massage Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You see the same parampara is coming down. Mahaprabhu would be massaged with oil and Prabhupada would also be massaged with oil. And many times we find our spiritual masters also, we would have heard how they were massaged by their servants with oil. So now Jagadananda Pandit, he comes back and he looks at Govinda and says, what happened? Did you massage Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with oil? And poor Govinda, he says, I told you Mahaprabhu is not going to accept it. He chastised me yesterday and he was saying that if he puts oil, people will think he's a Dari sannyasi, and he did not accept, my dear Jagadananda. I am very sorry. And when Jagadananda Pandit heard this, his temper reached the highest pinnacle. It reached the zenith. It was at such boiling point that he got so angry that he picked up the pot of oil that for which he had walked all the way to Gaudadesh. He picked up that oil and he just threw it to the ground and broke the pot of oil. If Mahaprabhu will not use, no one should use it. So much anger. Why? Because Jagadananda Pandit is not different from Satyabhama. Satyabhama, the Supreme Lord's queen, Krishna's queen in Dwaraka, was also very fiery by nature, very hot-tempered. And that same quality we find when Satyabhama comes down as Jagadananda Pandit. That same mood is there, very fiery in nature, very hot-tempered. So he broke the pot of oil and said, if Mahaprabhu is not going to use, no one will use. And he became so angry that he went to his room and he closed the door. And he was not ready to accept any anna. Mahaprabhu is not ready to take my service. or then I will also, as protest, I will not have any anna. Devotees have such a loving and a strong affection that they are ready to go to any extreme to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Sripada Indra Prabhu was one such example. His determination to know who he is in the spiritual world was so high all the time. Not like a wave, but he was always so enthusiastic and so determined to know who he is in connection with Krishna, that at one point Indra Prabhu literally fasted for 3 days and 3 nights with no water. There was no festival, not Nirjala Ekadashi or Janmashtami or anything. Fasting for 3 days and 3 nights to know who he is in connection with Krishna. That I am chanting for so many years, I am doing Nam Sankirtan, I am worshipping so many Shaligrams, living in Vrindavan Dham, but why is it that Krishna is still not revealing to me who I am in connection to him? What is my sambandha? And for literally 3 days and 3 nights, Indra Prabhu was fasting with the doors closed. And finally, on the 3rd night, he got a revelation of his sambandha with Sri Krishna. Of course, now we know it was 3 days and 3 nights. He had no idea. His mood was till the time Krishna doesn't reveal to me, till that time I will fast, even if it takes my life away. And finally, after 3 days and 3 nights, the power and intensity of his bhajan was so much that even Krishna could not hold himself. But through Srila Prabhupada, he got revelation in his dreams as to who he was in connection with Krishna. So such devotees in the present day have also existed, who have followed in the mood of Mahaprabhu's associates, that if Mahaprabhu will not reciprocate, I will fast. Now these things are such that we should not imitate. These are done by expert professionals. They are so much advanced in their bhakti that for them, Krishna comes down to this world. Krishna is conquered by their love, and Krishna reciprocates to their love. These things are something that should not be practiced or not be imitated by those who are on the Kanishta stage. So here also, Jagadananda Pandit, he starts fasting, and Mahaprabhu sends, day 1, he sends his servant, and Jagadananda Pandit is not opening. Day 2, he sends someone else, and Jagadananda Pandit is still not opening the door. And finally, day 3, Mahaprabhu himself goes and he says, he goes outside and says, my dear Jaga, your Nimai is standing out. Will you not open the door? Your Nimai, your school friend, is standing out. I will put all the oil that you want, but please open the door. Please have something. Mahaprabhu is begging and literally crying, standing outside, that, oh Jaga, you have not had, and I am also feeling little ashamed to have. You are my such dear friend. Whatever oil you want, I will put, my dear Jaga, but please open the door. Please open the door. He is the Supreme Lord. Aham bhakta paradhina yah swatantra ivodvija sadhubir grastardayam bhakter bhakta janapriyaha. Krishna is conquered by love. He is not conquered by anything else. Bhakter bhakta janapriyaha. For Krishna, his devotees are dear, and even the devotees of the devotees, they are also very dear to Shri Krishna. Krishna doesn't know anyone apart from the devotees, and the devotees don't know anyone apart from Krishna. Krishna doesn't want to know anyone apart from the devotees, and the devotees don't want to know anyone apart from Krishna. It's a one-pointed love affair. The devotees are chaste to the Supreme Lord, and the Lord is chaste towards his devotees. And that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is crying outside and saying, my dear Jaga, your Nimai is standing out. I will put all the oil that you want, but please open the door. Please have something. And finally, Jaga opens the door. And with tears flowing down the eyes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and tears flowing down the eyes like Ganga from the eyes of Jagadananda Pandit, both embrace each other. And all the fire that was there in the heart of Jagadananda Pandit in the form of anger gets completely extinguished by the tears of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The tears of Mahaprabhu completely extinguish the fire, the fiery nature of Jagadananda Pandit. And Mahaprabhu tells Jagadananda that your Nimai has come here. Will you not offer me anything? Will you not prepare something for me? And Jagadananda Pandit, in the mood of Satyabhama, goes inside and starts preparing sak for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sak and bananas are very close, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu likes bananas and sak or green leafy very much. And that is why you see during Gaur Purnimas also, many devotees and many temples, they will make sure that there are spinach preparations and there are bananas, either bananas or banana smoothie or anything in connection to bananas, because Mahaprabhu likes bananas very much. And Jagadananda Pandit makes this preparation and gets it for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu is having, and Mahaprabhu tells Jagadananda that, my dear Jagadananda, you also sit down, let us have together. And Jagga says, no, my dear Lord, you first have, and then I will have. And then Mahaprabhu has, and he embraces Jagadananda Pandit, and Mahaprabhu goes back to his kutir. But as he goes there, Mahaprabhu is not getting sleep. His heart is still thinking. He's still thinking, did Jagga really have? Or did he just to send me away, he's saying? Is he still fasting or did he have? And if he had, did he have the same prasad that he gave me, or is he giving me opulent prasad and he is having something very ordinary? Mahaprabhu had so many questions in the heart that he was not getting sleep. He sent Govinda that, my dear Govinda, can you go and secretly check whether Jagga is having prasadam? So Govinda goes, and very secretly he sees whether Jagadananda Pandit is having, and Jagadananda Pandit sees Govinda. He says, Acha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has sent you to secretly check whether I am having prasadam or not. And he started smiling and he told Govinda, go and tell your Nimai that his Jagga is having prasadam. Go and tell your Nimai that I have given up all anger towards him and now I am having prasadam. So all this beautiful anger lila, the growth of Jagadananda, it all started because of the oil, because of the perfume that initially Mahaprabhu refused, but seeing the intense love of Jagadananda Pandit, Mahaprabhu could not hold on to himself. The Lord is always ready to bend for his devotees. He's ready to bend. He's ready to go to any extreme for his devotees. In the Gajendra pastime, we see our Acharya's comment that when Gajendra was calling out to the Supreme Lord, he was so much in a hurry that he sat on Garuda, that even his upper cloth he had not worn, but he sat on Garuda, and as he was going, he was trying to adjust and put the upper cloth. But at one point he realized that Garuda is very slow. The Lord thought to himself, Garuda actually is really fast. But seeing the call of Gajendra, the Supreme Lord thought to himself, he is very slow. And if this is the speed in which Garuda is going to fly, what will happen to my devotee Gajendra? So our Acharyas at one point comment that Krishna, he got down from Garuda and lifted Garuda on his shoulders, and the Lord was running because he was so eager to protect Gajendra that he was thinking, if this is the speed in which Garuda is going to fly, we are not going to reach there. We are not going to reach there. So he held Garuda on his shoulders and he was running. And one hand he was holding Gajendra, another hand he's adjusting his upper cloth. So much love for his devotees. And Gajendra was not even a human. He was a four-legged pashu. He was a four-legged animal. The only thing that he did was to remember the Supreme Lord and to call out the Supreme Lord. So for the devotee, the Supreme Lord is ready to bend to any extreme. So many examples we find. Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj. He is ready to change his form. He is ready to come in a form that was never seen before. He is always ready to help and protect his devotees. And Even if the Lord is quote unquote, if he's about to be criticized for wearing perfume and being called as Dari Sannyasi, the Lord is still ready to accept, but he doesn't want to displease his dear devotee Jagadananda Pandit. The devotees are very dear to the heart of the Supreme Lord. And that's, devotees are the weak point for the Supreme Lord. He can accept anything, but he cannot accept one thing. If his devotees are offended and criticized, the Lord never keeps quiet. That is the weak point of the Supreme Lord. He can tolerate everything, but if his devotees are displeased in any way, the Lord cannot accept. Even if you are Durvasa Muni, still the Lord is not ready to forgive. Durvasa Muni is expansion of Lord Shiva, but still, if there is Vaishnava Parad and there is criticism, whoever we are, whatever we are doing, whatever our position is, if there is Vaishnava Parad, if there is criticism of devotees of the Lord, then we can hardly expect to become recipient of Krishna's mercy. And Shastra is replete with examples. So devotees are the weak point of the Supreme Lord. As Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would always make this point, that whenever there is in a building, if there is fire, if the whole building is on flames, then naturally the natural instinct is we look for emergency exits. Wherever there's an emergency exit, we will try to exit from there. Similarly, this world is on fire. Samsara dava nala lida loka. This world is set on fire. It's on blazing fire. And devotees are like the emergency exits. But when we offend Krishna's devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees, in whatever way they are, we are jamming the doors of spiritual world on our face. We are jamming those emergency exits, those devotees who are going to help us get out of this world. If we offend and criticize those devotees, we are jamming those doors of spiritual world on our face. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would give this example, and he would always make this point, whatever it is, whatever the situation is, Krishna knows what the reality is. When we offend, we lose everything. There is a very beautiful small video on Vaishnava Aparad by Srila Govinda Maharaj. It's there online. And Govinda Maharaj opens the statement by saying, when you criticize Vaishnavas, everything is lost. Everything is lost. Krishna makes sure that he will take away everything from us. All the spiritual realization, all the inspiration, all the enthusiasm, everything is gone. And so many times we experience it, that at one point very easily we were getting up in the morning and chanting, and now it's a difficult situation. At one point probably we were chanting more, but now we are not able to do it. At one point we had so many verses memorized, but now we are fumbling for verses. At one point we were doing so much Vaishnava Seva, but now we are not able to take it, and there is no impetus to even do it. Why? Because there is Vaishnava Aparad. Vaishnava Aparad is that one thing that takes away everything. It takes away everything. So we have to be always cautious of this fact that if we want to become recipients of Krishna's mercy, all that we have to do is we have to attract Krishna. At the same time, attract Krishna through our bhakti, but at the same time, also very important is to not criticize his devotees. And Krishna cannot, he can just not tolerate that. Whoever we are, Krishna cannot tolerate that. So here we find, in the pretext of the oil, Mahaprabhu is teaching that for his devotees, he is ready to bend, and he is also ready to fast, because Jagadananda was also fasting. So much love affair. In the second part, we find Mahaprabhu is going to the florist. He's going into the mali to get some garlands, to get some flowers. We see in Krishna Leela also, Krishna has a garland that he wears, Vaijayanti Mala. Baraha Pidam Natavara Karna Yoho Karnikaram Vibrat Vasana Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Jamalam. In the Venu Geet, we find Sri Shukadev Goswami explains how Krishna wears a Vaijayanti Mala. Vishesha Rupena Jayati. Jayati means victory. But this garland is a special victory garland. Not that Krishna is victorious over the demons, Putana, Agasur, Shakatasur. That is not the garland that Krishna is wearing. Because killing demons, even Vishnu is doing. So Krishna is not wearing the garland oh, I have killed Putana, I have killed Agasura, I have killed Shakatasura, I have killed Keshi. That is not the purpose of the garland. Vaijayanti Mala is that mala to show to the world that I am now victorious over the hearts of the Brajavasis. It's a victory garland to show that I am now victorious over the hearts of the Brajavasis. And the Brajavasis are victorious over my heart. Goes back and forth. And this Vaijayanti Mala that Krishna wears, the flower garland, is made of 5 forest flowers. Mandara, Kunda, Parijata, Tulasi and Kamala. When these 5 forest flowers come together, only then it is Vaijayanti Mala. Mandara, Kunda, Parijata, Tulasi and Kamala. These 5 forest flowers. So Krishna has a habit of wearing forest flowers. Krishna has a habit of wearing flower on his ear. And similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. Is now going to the florist to get some flower garlands to enhance his beauty. We saw in this section how the florist is offering obeisances to the beautiful form of Shri Krishna. Krishna or Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're very beautiful. The Supreme Lord is very beautiful. Kaviraj Goswami explains that Shri Krishna, we say he's Krishna Chandra. Why? Because Krishna has moons all over his body. Krishna has 24.5 moons on his body. How? 10 fingernails, 5, so 10. These are like moons. They are as effulgent and radiating like the moon. So here 10. Similarly, the nails of the feet. So 10 plus 10, 20. The cheeks of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, 21 and 22, they are like moons, glistening, soft and effulgent. 22. 23 is the bindi, big bindi that Krishna wears. 24 is the face of Krishna, that is like a moon. And 24.5 is the forehead of the Supreme Lord, forehead of Shri Krishna. So Kaviraj Goswami Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that Krishna has 24.5 moons. And that is why he's Krishna Chandra. Now, very interesting here. Kaviraj Goswami wrote that Krishna has 24.5 moons. When Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saw this, Vishwanath Chakravarti started counting. And when he counted, it came to 25 syllables. Those who are Brahmanically initiated can count. And if you count, we will see that it comes to 25 syllables. Of course, those who are not Brahmanically initiated, please don't go online to check what the mantras are. It is completely prohibited. These mantras should be given first by the spiritual master. So please don't go online to check these mantras. But for those who are, they can resonate. When Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also started chanting and he counted, he said, this is 25 syllables. Did Kaviraj Goswami make a mistake? He thought, no, Kaviraj Goswami cannot make a mistake. He is Mahaprabhu's dear servant. How can he make a mistake? But Kaviraj Goswami is saying there are 24.5 syllables. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is counting and saying it is 25 syllables. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur started scratching his head and thinking, how is it that Kaviraj Goswami is saying 24.5 and I am getting 25? He could not understand. So after checking through different scriptures, he still did not get an answer. So finally, he decided to fast. He was there on the banks of Radhakund and he decided to fast. That, my dear Lord, how is it that Kaviraj Goswami is saying it is 24.5 and I am not able to see the reality behind it? So he began to fast. And finally, after 3 days, Srimati Radharani came in the dream and explained to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur how the Kam Gayatri has 24.5 syllables and not 25 syllables. So when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur understood that, he became very blissful. And after this, he started chanting the mantras. So the Kam Gayatri has 24.5 syllables. Why? Because when chanted properly, it illuminates the 24.5 moons in Krishna's body. It illuminates the Rupa Madhurya of Krishna in our heart. These mantras are very powerful. It has 24.5 syllables to illuminate the 24.5 moons of Krishna Chandra or Gaura Chandra. So when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur understood this, When he got the realization from Srimati Radharani, he started chanting these mantras. And after chanting these mantras, he was loaded with so much realization. That's when he wrote the epic literature, Chamatkar Chandrika. The astonishing Chamatkar. Chamatkar means astonishing. Chamatkar Chandrika, the astonishing pastimes which are soothing to the heart like the moon rays of Radha and Krishna. Chamatkar Chandrika. Why Chandrika? Because it all started with Chandra, the moon, 24 and a half and 25, the confusion. So he names the book as Chamatkar Chandrika, the astonishing pastimes of Radha and Krishna that are cooling and soothing to the heart like the moon rays. So the 24 and a half syllables of the Kam Gayatri, they illuminate the 24 and a half moons of Krishna's body. So Krishna is very beautiful. And that beauty of the Supreme Lord can be realized by these mantras. Harinam is very powerful. Harinam works on Kripa. And the Gayatri mantras work on Yogyata. They work on qualification. Only when one is qualified, these mantras come down to the disciple from Sri Guru. Only when Sri Guru thinks and Sri Krishna thinks that the disciple is qualified, these mantras are granted. Harinam works on Kripa. The Gayatri mantras work on Yogyata, work on qualification. Brahmaji got the ability to create the whole universe by the Brahma Gayatri that Krishna gave him. He created the whole universe by the Gayatri mantras. So we can imagine how powerful they are. So we should always endeavor. This is why Prabhupada always kept first initiation and second initiation. Second initiation is very important. These mantras are very, very, very powerful coming from Krishna. And one such mantra, as we discussed, is the Kam Gayatri, where 24 and a half syllables illuminate the Rupa Madhuri, the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the form of Sri Krishna. That is explained here in the pastime of the florist, who is enamored and captivated by seeing the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here. I had thought of a short class, but somehow Krishna, seeing all the enthusiasm of all the devotees here, I was feeling very regretful in my heart to stop in a short amount of time. Devotees have spent so much time and are coming here. I would have felt very guilty. So even though Mataji made the announcement, and I only told Mataji that I would want to keep it short, but these are just a few thoughts from the verses for today, from the pastime of Mahaprabhu going to the oil merchant and Mahaprabhu going to the florist. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Thank you so much, Arjun Sakhā Prabhu. What a beautiful class. I really like the way you connected the perfume merchant to the pastime of Jagadananda Pandit. And then later, as you were describing about the Vaijayanti Mala, it was really, really beautiful. Thanks for letting us know about Chamatkar Chandrika. I didn't connect that at all. And thank you for helping me understand that. And the phrase that you used, Harinam comes with Kripa, and the Diksha mantras, they come with Yogyata. That was very, very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was a very, very meditative class. I'm very grateful for your association. And Harikatha has that power. Even if you don't want to talk, you end up talking. So it's only natural. Thank you so much. And we'll open up if do you have time and energy for question and answers?
Maybe we'll pause here.
Okay.
I would want to give myself some rest, and I have to also jump to a meeting. It's a Monday morning, so I have to jump to a meeting. So maybe we'll end here, Mataji.
Sure. Thank you all so much for your attention, everybody. We'll end the call here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Great Bhagavata ki jai. With great
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Very much. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Very, very excellent class.
Jai Shri Radha.
Hare Krishna. Radha Radha.